Up next, when I was preparing to introduce this next group, I just kept getting the same song stuck in my head over and over. Maybe if I tell you the song, Do You Love Me? Does anyone think of something specific? Do you love me? Yeah, Something might come to mind, I don't know, maybe. Anyway, if you guessed, the next group is from Boston Dynamics. They are, of course, a group who over 30 years have been building physical robots that, are able to dance, like I was just alluding to. If you don't know, go look it up later. You'll have a nice smile on your face at the time you do. But for right now, I have a big smile on my face to be able to introduce the next two fantastic women coming to this stage. We have Mary and Kristen, and perhaps even some robot friends too, leading the way here at Boston Dynamics. Please, ladies, welcome to the stage.
Thank you so much for that introduction, and thank you so much for the organizers for having us here today. This has been a really terrific event. It's our first time speaking at this event, so we're really, really grateful for this opportunity. My name's Mary. I'm a product leader at Boston Dynamics.
And I'm Kristen. I'm on the sales leadership team here at Boston Dynamics.
You know, and today our title might say that we're talking about the future, but we're really going to actually talk about the present and about some of the incredible transitions that our industry is seeing. And we got a really great flavor of that with the previous presentations. So we're really, really happy to be following such an exciting and inspiring journey that Schaeffler is having with humanoid. Now, we're all probably in this room facing very similar challenges in our industries. Speaking broadly, we won't have enough labor to maintain our standard of living in the next 20 or 30 years. And with these aging workforces and changing work preferences, the truth is that the industries that are getting hardest hit are the most labor intensive. And so it shouldn't be surprising to any of us here in this room that we all need to be investing in this concept of automation without requiring fixed infrastructure. And as a robotics industry, which is true for our friends at Humanoid, which is true for robotics companies across the world, the reality of the situation is that we're moving away from that industrial era of robotics. Most of the things in this room were made with automation. We all know automation. We've all embraced automation. But automation that goes outside of the laboratory, that goes outside of the factory, that goes outside of the warehouse and becomes part of our daily lives is what's going to be required to solve some of this labor gap. And so that's why we at Boston Dynamics exist. We exist to build tools that make humanity better. We exist to build general purpose robots that can be used by humanity to solve the next challenges that our species is facing.
And as we're building these robots that we want to be made for being useful to humans, we not only focus on capable hardware, but an end-to-end solution. So what you see here on the screen is our core product portfolio. On the left, we've got our friend Spot, our autonomous data collection quadruped. In the middle, we have Atlas, our all-electric humanoid. And on the right, we have Stretch, our material handling specialist. But what's really interesting is that we have this layer underpinning all of our hardware, which is called Orbit. This is our software, and this is really what helps us fill that gap between the physical and digital worlds. As we're developing our robots and thinking about what we really need to be able to interact with the world around us and do essential work that will help humans, we're looking for three things. So Boston Dynamics has been around for over 30 years developing legged robots. The first thing that we need to be able to do is go anywhere. That's not only anywhere a person can go, but anywhere. So that could be places that are dangerous for humans or inaccessible for humans. And again, our work up to this point has really nailed the robots going where humans can and can't go. The next thing that we need to be able to do is understand our surroundings and in the context that we're working in. And the last thing that we need to be able to do is interact with our surroundings to be able to manipulate things and understand the environment that we're working in. All right, so we'll bring my buddy Spot out. Some of you all have met him earlier, but I thought we'd bring him on stage so we could talk a little bit about what he's been up to. He's deployed in over 3,000 spots worldwide. You'll notice that he can walk around autonomously. He can go anywhere a person can go. He can climb and descend stairs. He can recover from slips and falls. He really is an industrial asset and can be treated as such. So we all know and love Spot the quadruped, the platform. But what makes Spot really interesting are the payloads that live on his back. So you can sort of think of it just like humans have eyes, ears, and noses. Spot has senses as well that are really superhuman. So first of all, we have 360-degree 4K cameras that we can use and run our AI, VI models behind it so that Spot can walk around facilities looking for problems. Maybe there's a puddle on the floor that someone should be aware of. Maybe there's an aisle that's blocked that could be a safety concern. So Spot is constantly able to look around for problems and report back on them. Secondly, we have our ears, which Spot is showing his ears right now. This is our acoustic sensor. So this can be used in manufacturing environments looking for acoustic leaks. So compressed air might be leaking, which could be costing you energy. This can also look for vibration anomalies on rotating equipment. So these ears are out there finding things that would be really hard for a human to hear in an active environment. Lastly, we have the nose. There is a gas detector that Spot uses so that he can detect if there is a dangerous gas in an environment and make sure that he responds accordingly to that. All right. And I think the most important thing for you all to take away from the Spot portion of today's talk is that Spot is delivering ROI all around the world today. We have folks using him for industrial inspection, which I've covered with many of you that we've had chats about today. Spot is walking around looking for problems and finding them and alerting folks to them before they cost them big bucks. And Spot is also collecting data so that you can get ahead of safety and compliance issues. You know, it's one thing to be around and being observant of what's going on, but to be able to explain what's going on in real time and react to that is really where Spot is driving value. So if you have any questions about Spot, please come find me later. I'll let Mary continue the talk.
You know, Kristen introduced this concept of general purpose robots and the recipe that you need for general purpose robots. You need robots that can go anywhere. You need robots that can understand their surroundings. And then finally, you need robots that can interact with the world, that can manipulate anything. And at Boston Dynamics, we are tackling all three of those at the same time. So with Spot, it was very important for us to introduce a robot, a new species into the world that could provide value to industrial customers today. That's what we're driving with Spot. Let's collect data about a facility. Let's tell you how your facility is operating. But we've also pursued in parallel these extremely deep and important partnerships to get us closer to a world where humanoid robots are on the floor interacting with products, where humanoid robots are in the world interacting with people, and where humanoid robots are driving value. So the third part of this recipe for a general purpose robot is manipulate anything, interact with the world. Now, Boston Dynamics, we have a strong partnership with Hyundai. They're a majority owner of our company. We've also, at CES this year, we recently announced a partnership with Google. So Google is helping us to build this robot brain that is capable of doing so much on the factory floor, both with Hyundai and beyond. Thanks. On to my next slide. Now, this is great because we just had this wonderful presentation that preceded ours about physical AI, working with Scheffler. This is exactly the right approach. Data is king, that's what they said, and they're absolutely right. That training data is absolutely essential to driving what you can see and do now with humanoid robots. 4, 5, 6 years ago, these behaviors that we're showing with this robot here, these autonomous, fully autonomous behaviors, they would have taken 6 months to a year for a really, really talented engineer to build with full physics. Now this can be done in an hour. That's pretty incredible. And so when we're talking about robots that can go anywhere, highly mobile, highly agile, this is a great framework for building those extremely agile platforms. Now, I don't think you're gonna see a robot doing this on the factory floor anytime soon. But we can't help ourselves. We've got to do some fun stuff with the robot. Now, I understand that the World Cup is a bit of a sore subject right now here, but I do want to show just some fun things from what we've been doing with Hyundai and FIFA for the World Cup. This is a lot of fun, but this is what I really care about. This is the real work that this kind of a robot is going to be doing in these facilities. It's similar to what you just saw with Scheffler. This is why having those partnerships early on when you're a physical AI and your robotics company becomes extremely important, is to develop that data set that can make your robot capable of doing these extremely complicated tasks in real-world environments. So as you're evaluating robots, you're thinking about your robotic journey, I really strongly suggest that you look at three main primary issues. You want someone who has deep robotics experience. You need a partner that develops industry-leading AI in a scalable and ethical way. And then finally, you want to be able to hit that scaled manufacturing. So make sure that you're looking for this recipe as you're looking for your general purpose robots. Now, I said that at the beginning of the talk, I said, we're really going to be talking about the present, and that's the reality. This is here, this is today, this is now, and investing in these physical AI tools is really investing in the future of humanity. Thank you all so much. I'm a little over, so I'm going to call it here. Thank you.